Hello again. One of the things which I have noticed about modern British politics is that the kind of things which once would have seen government ministers resigning instantly are now tolerated as though they're just something which could happen to anybody. Imagine back in the early 1960s, for example, if then Minister of Transport, Ernest Marples, whom older viewers might perhaps remember, had been arrested for driving without insurance and then ended up being fined for the offence and getting 6 points on his licence. It would have been a terrible scandal for a Minister of Transport, and it is inconceivable that he would have felt able to continue in his job. These days, though, that's nothing to even worry about. When Scotland's Minister of Transport, Humza Yousaf, was prosecuted for this offence in 2016, nobody even noticed. Certainly he had no intention of resigning. He just said it was a silly mistake on his part caused by the break-up of his marriage. Who remembers this today? Nobody, of course. Yousaf just carried on. After his mad rant in 2020, at which time he was Cabinet Secretary for Justice, of all things, complaining about the number of white people in positions of authority in a country in which over 95% of the population are white, you might have thought there would be pressure on him to quit. Not a bit of it. Let me just remind viewers of what he said. Every High Court judge is white, the Lord Advocate is white, the Solicitor General is white, the Chief Constable is white, every Deputy Chief Constable is white, every Assistant Chief Constable is white, the head of the Law Society is white, the head of the Faculty of Advocates is white, and every prison governor is white. That is not the case only in justice. The Chief Medical Officer is white, the Chief Nursing Officer is white, the Chief Veterinary Officer is white, the Chief Social Work Advisor is white, and almost every trade union in this country is headed by white people. The angry and contemptuous way in which he emphasised the word white has to be heard to be believed. He was not urged to resign after this, and so has carried on to this day. By the by, there are those who think that Labour will take over the government of Scotland at the next election there, and that this will make a difference. Not really. In the description to this video, I give a link to a speech by Anas Sarwar, the leader of Labour in Scotland. By uncanny coincidence, he is also the son of Pakistani Muslim immigrants, and let me quote from his speech. Every chief executive of every council and every government department, white. Every director of a department in Scotland, white. Every principal of our college or university in Scotland, white. Every head teacher in Scotland, white. Every chair of a public sector body in Scotland, white. Every High Court judge in Scotland, white. Every president governor in Scotland, white. Every editor of a news organisation in Scotland, white. It sounds eerily familiar, does it not? Almost as though both men were reading from the same script, although they supposedly belong to different political parties. There is something very odd about this, and I wonder if any viewers can provide an explanation for what we observe. It is almost as though the two men are clones who look the same, have the same background, follow the same religion, and have identical views about white people. But surely that cannot really be the case.